I think this is one of the few manga news video where like the license announcements are not my #1 favorite thing for that video, because I feel like there was some really cool news that went out last week, but it's not necessarily related to new manga licenses. Hello friends, happy Monday. So very excited that you're here. So very excited for this video. We have a lot of things to cover. This week I was like, you know what, we're just gonna pack my web browser here with as many tabs as I can fit, and we're just gonna try and make it through all of them, to be determined if we'll actually will, because there's just so many good things I feel like that came out that are just really good for the manga community right now, that I'm like, man, we need to talk about these things. And one of them wasn't even on my original list of things to cover today, but shortly before filming this video, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go on Twitter real quick, just see if there's anything else. And lo and behold, I see my friend Being Queenie, she has shared an epic shoujo figurine. And who is the character that she shared? There were two. The first one I saw was Anne from Sugar Apple Fairy Tale. Now, I know that I mentioned a few weeks ago that I did drop this series, but I still love the characters. I still love the story. It wasn't like a hate drop or anything like that. Every time I see art of these characters, I always stop and admire them. And that is definitely what happened when I saw this figurine. She looks stunning. Oh my goodness. I was like, I sort of wonder. And it doesn't help that when I was responding to comments, and thank you everybody for your loving comments on my videos. I'm finally catching up. Hopefully things are calming down for the summer before school starts back. And I'm just so thankful for you guys. Everybody's just so cool. It's just so supportive. A lot of you guys mentioned on that video, like, hey, go try the light novel, go try the anime. And I was like, is this a sign? Is this a sign? Because not only did I see this beautiful, you know, figure of Anne, but Chow, the love interest, and I hope I'm saying his name right, but look at him. Look how awesome and amazing he looks as well. And I was like, I'm not really a figure collector just because they're on the more pricey side. If I'm gonna spend money on merch, I want it to be pins or stickers as well. Pins and stickers, those are my two go-tos. But seeing these two, wow, I really feel like this company did it justice for both of these characters. Looks like it comes out next year of August. I'm not really sure who the creator is. Does it say, oh, Design Coco? I'm assuming that is the name of the company. I don't really know because I don't follow the companies at all. But I wanted to share about these because I just thought they were amazing. Having more shoujo figurines is always a win, always. And looking at them, I'm like, yes, definitely hands down a win for the manga community. Now we'll go into the things I originally wanted to talk about. And talking about manga, I was really excited. So let's see, this past weekend was a San Diego Comic-Con. There were a few license announcements, not many, but one thing that I originally wasn't that excited about was the manga publishing industry roundtable. And maybe that sounds bad, but I was like, oh, you know, I'm not super into industry stuff as a whole, which maybe sounds weird. I feel like in the sense what I thought what they were going to talk about, I was like, oh, I don't know. But then this lady, her name is, I don't know what her name is, but this lady who shared this thread on Twitter, wow, I'm so thankful she did, because it was such an informative thread in seeing how these manga publishers feel, because like, I think there was like the CEO of Yen Press, there was somebody from Viz Media, I believe, Matt from Starfruit Books, the owner of Dempa, and what's the other one? I think it's the editorial publishing or something like that, or editorial director of Kodansha. And all of them came together, and also Deb, who is the one that put this whole industry panel together. And there were just a few things I wanted to cover, but I would highly suggest checking out the entire thing. Probably my biggest takeaway was we had a Veil update. We had a Veil update. Now, I mentioned a few weeks ago in a previous manga news video that we did receive an update about Veil and that they are working on it. Well, Deb actually mentioned at this panel, the first 4 volumes are already ready to go. They've already got the lettering, the translation, it's good. It just needs to be printed, and they don't have a printing slot. They don't have a space, I guess, however the printing schedule is, for them to print the manga. And I'm like, oh, like that made so much more sense of why it's been delayed, because I don't think we had a release date for Veil the same way we did with No Roses Have Thorns, or I think that's the proper title. We had a release date for that, but now I'm just sort of wondering if like some of these manga, especially from smaller publishers, that they'll say, okay, it's going to release this time, but then it doesn't because something pops up. Because I think I think it was a guy from Dempa mentioned that it used to be like pre-pandemic where you could get stuff printed within 6 6 weeks. Now you're lucky if you can get it before like 3 months. And I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't realize that it was sort of that bad, so to speak. I thought that was just very helpful information. Another thing that I thought was really interesting, they were talking about there's a lot of new publishers that are coming up, a lot of micro publishers, so to speak, because you know, you have like Kodansha and Yen and Viz. So, I mean, there's sort of like the big three. 7 Seas would be sort of, I think, in there too. But I mean, when you think about buying manga, usually you're going to think about buying manga from these manga publishers because they're just very well known. They have a good track history, or track record, I should say, of having good quality, at least majority of the time. And so we go to them more or less. But this one person was saying, that was on the roundtable, that there's a lot of new micro publishers that are popping up and that they're able to really hit in these niche genre, which is a great thing for manga readers because in my opinion, I feel like if there's a new manga publisher popping up and they seem like they have really good experience and that they're very dedicated to bringing us manga in a professional way and making that manga the most pristine manga it can be, meaning, you know, there's no AI generated stuff. It's by actual people, good translations, and just well-bound quality when we get it physically in our hands. And this person was saying that is such a win for the manga community. Still makes things hard for the manga publishers, and one thing that they actually mentioned was that they do feel that the market is potentially or is being oversaturated. I can't remember which one they said, but I know they talked about that, and so they are a little bit worried that there is this manga bubble and that it's going to pop like it did, I guess, quite a few years ago when the manga industry sort of just flopped down. But I think it was Yen Press mentioned that they feel there's still a very strong interest in manga from the community in the US as a whole. And I thought great that Yen has actually had initiatives where they are trying to create more bookstores because they feel that is still the #1 manga source, or not source, the #1 way that people buy manga, which I thought is very interesting because I don't have a bookstore very close to me, so I hardly ever go to the bookstore. I think last year I could count on one hand, maybe both, of how many times I went that entire year. So that was very odd for me personally, and I'm not one to just go to the bookstore and randomly pick up things. Like, I need to be influenced because I'm like, budgeting is a thing. That's why I pre-order, so I can stay in my budget. I'm lucky if I can go to the bookstore and just pick up with whatever. So I thought that cool that Yen is doing an initiative to get more bookstores. I think they mentioned that they have 3 more. One of them's in Baltimore, so that was awesome. But going back to the micro publishers, and I was glad to hear that these people on the roundtable said that these micro publishers, they find their niche, they can help deliver to the market in a way that these bigger publishers cannot. Because we actually have I wouldn't say a new publisher that's on the scene, so to speak, but it is, so HarperAlley is an imprint of HarperCollins. If I'm not mistaken, HarperCollins is one of like the big 3 US publishers. I mean, they're a big deal. And so HarperAlley, I guess, has been around for a long time. They specifically publish, I believe, children geared fiction. So I think it was like, yeah, children's graphic novels. Well, HarperAlley recently announced that they are actually going to be starting to publish adult manga graphic novels and manhwa. I thought this was such a cool thing. I did not see a very positive reception on Twitter, which made me very sad because when I just very briefly looked at to see what has HarperAlley released, they have released titles like Hooky and Unordinary, which are both were webcomics and now they're physicals. Both of the quality of those have been amazing. Now, like one person did point out to me, publishing manga is very different from publishing, say, webcomics because it's going to be, you know, one's in English, one is not. And while I totally get that, and I think that's very valid, I feel that with how the quality has been, I feel like whatever they bring us is going to be in very good hands. And I'm personally very excited because always getting more manhwa and more manga really is just an exciting thing. I mean, obviously we definitely want these manga publishers to do these stories justice. My Love Story with Loving Yamada is a prime example of what the manga community really wanted to see. And I feel bad because I feel like Inklore, when it came to Yamada specifically, that they just dropped the ball on this one manga series and they have set the bar really low. But it seems like all of their other titles are getting very high quality print. Hopefully, what is it? Father, I Don't Want This Marriage, which I do have pre-ordered from Inklore. I'm hoping that it will be good. I guess to be determined. I'll talk about it at some point whenever I read it. But I hope though that people have seen like the manga community takes these things seriously. We take our manga licenses, we take our manga quality quality, translation, all of it. We have high standards, and it's a good thing that we do. And so I hope that HarperAlley definitely sees that they do it justice, because it's always a really good thing. But if they fumble the ball, I'm gonna be really sad, and I'll probably be like crying about it later on. But right now I'm very optimistic, and I'm hoping very good things. Now, coming out of San Diego Comic-Con, there were some manga licenses. In fact, Starfruit Books, I mentioned, I think it was last week as well, in another manga news video. Starfruit Books came out and they said that we are talking with a classic shoujo rights holder. We've been chatting for an hour, and they're like, they tweeted classic shoujo on the official publisher account. Well, guess what, friends? It is official. They signed a contract for a shoujo, or a classic shoujo, that is 600 pages. 600 pages. As of filming this video, I don't know what it is. They have not said. They were waiting to get the okay from the person that they could announce it. And I'm like, I want to know. They did say, respond to somebody, it is not a classic shoujo manga called Fire. I don't know any classic shoujo manga, so this will be a very big surprise for me personally. I'm very eager and very curious to see what this manga is. I feel like Starfruit Books, they are a lot slower with their productions and like getting manga out there, but everybody I've heard that has ever ordered from them has never complained of anything bad about it. So I feel like it'll definitely be in good hands, and they had a bunch of different manga licenses that came out of the Comic-Con this past weekend. One of them that I'm most excited about is called The Fantasy Ends Today. The art looks so stunning. The synopsis for this is, there's someone inside that church whose voice only I can hear, a fantasy set in Europe. This unfortunately is only going to be, I guess, digital only, because if you look at all of their other license announcements from this past weekend, they all say digital, then it will be printed physical later. And this is the only one that doesn't have it. I'm like, this is the one I'm most interested in out of the ones that we do know what the title and the name of it is. It looks beautiful. It looks stunning. I'm very interested in checking this out. I have not bought a lot of digital. I usually read digital like on different apps, but actually buying digital manga like an ebook, I want to do it for this one because I want to support the creator. It looks beautiful. Very, very intrigued about this one. The only other publisher that had like a lot of manga licenses in the same amount that Starfruit's Books did, though I think maybe just one of these were one-shots, was Kodansha. I'm not going to cover all of them. I think there was only like 6 or 7, less than 10 at least, but I will cover the shoujosei ones just because I want to do that. So one of them that was licensed is called Roar, A Star in the Abyss. This is actually by the same creator of a manga, a digital manga, and I believe it has like a TV drama called Guilty. I don't know anything about that. I just found out this morning that Roar is actually a 2-volume series. I thought it was ongoing, but I guess it's not. And the thing that sort of hooked me on this is it opens up with, who is the villain of your story? And it's about a young woman. When she was a little girl, it seems that she lived with this family, and then there's some kind of TV showing that happens where she lives, and she's going to be a very minor character in this TV show. After she's in it, and I don't know if it goes like up on TV or whatever, a woman comes and claims to be her long lost mother, and basically I guess wants to take her back because it says she was living with her family, who she considered to be her family. Now she's living in this lavish mansion and she doesn't know who to trust, and I guess there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes and involving her, and she's just sort of got to figure, what to say, the greedy schemers of all stripes. And so I guess, I don't know if it would be right for me to say it's got betrayal and greed and whatnot, but I feel like this is a little bit outside of what I typically read, but knowing it's only 2 volumes has me very, very curious, and the cover looks really good. The cover for volume 2 also looked really good when I saw it randomly online, so I think I'm going to give this one a chance. I did see pages of the Japanese version because it was like free, like chapter 1 was just free, and the art looks really, really good. It looks really emotional. I wish I could have seen past chapter 1, but you had to have a membership with this certain website. But I will hopefully be able to check this out because I'm very, very curious. I mean, 2 volumes. A little bit bummed that the last josei series that I'm thinking of that's coming out later this year was also 2 volumes, but at least we're getting more josei, because I have talked about, I think it was True or False, is josei on the rise? And now I personally, when filming this video, felt josei is on the rise, and Kodansha, even if they are only giving a smaller series, it still seems to be true, because I think all of the newer stuff that we're getting is actually josei. Now, the next one that I personally was really excited about, there was not a lot of excitement for this online either, but for the upcoming holiday, they are doing a Sailor Moon collection manga box set. Now, like a lot of people have said, we have a lot of different versions of Sailor Moon. I'll be honest, I have never caved and bought Sailor Moon. Okay, I have wanted to, but I just haven't done it. Seeing the box set, which I will leave an image here, it looks amazing. It comes, what they say, with exclusive set of 16 art cards in a beautiful holographic box featuring a premium magnetic enclosure. This is going to include volumes 1 through 6 of Sailor Moon. I actually don't know how long Sailor Moon is, but I'll be honest, the 16 art cards, they're speaking to me. They're speaking to my merch loving heart. And I think this is an amazing way to release it during the holidays, because I can imagine people are getting into Sailor Moon for the first time, or their parents find out like, oh, there's a Sailor Moon box set, perfect Christmas gift. This is an ultimate shoujo manga Christmas present right here. I think that's amazing. It reminds me when A Sign of Affection came out, and well, we had A Sign of Affection, we had the singles, you know, and then they released the omnibus, and people were like, why is this being released? And I thought the same thing, but then you know something? I've had friends who picked up the omnibus because they watched the anime and they're like, oh, I want to go get the omnibus and it's cheaper. Therefore, we have created a new manga reader who's into Sign of Affection, the manga, not just the anime. Ever since that moment, when I see things like this, I think it's awesome because there's going to be somebody out there that for the first time is getting into the Sailor Moon manga. And what a better way, because you're going to have those 16 art cards. I don't know how much this is going to be, but I am very curious because I'm telling y'all that I was like, that could be me that's buying a box set because it seems really, really great. Do we have a lot of versions of Sailor Moon? We do. But do we have a really awesome one that's coming? We definitely do. And I think it's going to do really good this holiday. Now that we only had one digital license, and then behold, it was a josei in the cover, y'all. Look at this cover. It's called That Beauty is a Tramp, and it is absolutely breathtaking. I'm like, if a manga cover can just sell you on something, I'm like, this is one. This is one. I'm really sad that it's full price in the sense it's $10.99 for a volume. I did hear rumor, I don't know if it's true, that it is on NetGalley, so if you're interested in reading it for free and then leaving a review, NetGalley could be your way to go because Kodansha is not very strict when it comes to reviewing titles from them, unlike certain other publishers where their name starts with a V and they don't give you anything except for very few people who get it. But moving on, this one seemed really good. I did read the first chapter because the free chapter's up on Kodansha's website. I'm a little nervous. That's a little bit steamy for me, as embarrassed as I am to say that, but I love the art. It's about this young woman. Something happened in college and she's very, very leery of men's touch. But this man comes up who is a model and he is able to be a model for masculine and feminine styles. And she realizes that when she's making eye contact with him or if he touches her, she's not feeling like completely shaken up or turned off by him. And so she's sort of curious about this man, and this man seems very drawn to her. I'm very curious about this one, and I really know it's just because of how beautiful that cover is. It is such a bummer that this is digital only because I totally feel if we had this physically, oh yeah, that manga would be selling in a heartbeat because it's just so pretty. Now, a few people said that Viz mentioned that they were going to do manga announcements, which I was sort of surprised by because, you know, Viz has never really done that. You know, they always do their license announcements, usually outside of cons, but they did have one, and I did want to feature it because even though it's not shoujosei, look, I agree. One thing that was said in that manga publishing industry panel that I mentioned is that manga geared towards kids or kid-friendly manga is really lacking, and I strongly agree. It is very hard to find manga that is strictly geared towards kids. I mean, yes, I know that there's some out there, but I feel like it's 10 times easier to find manga that's geared toward teen girls or teen boys. Like, that is so much easier to do than, you know, finding manga that's geared toward kids. But Viz Media, they do see the need, and I feel like they are at least one of the publishers that are like, here you go. They just recently announced a new Spider-Man manga. The cover looks so cute. I don't know what it's about, but apparently it sort of started out as like doodles, but people loved it so much that eventually it got a physical. I hope that I could get this and my kids would be interested because I have not been able to get them into manga the same way that me and my husband are. But I wanted to share it because it looks cute. We need more kid-friendly manga. I'm very thankful that Viz at least gave us one license announcement. Now, I confess I have not been keeping up on Taven's B-side, which has been ongoing. I know it's got an anime announcement and everything. I have not been keeping up with it. I have read volume 1 and I did like it. It was good. I just thought it was really cool that the idol singer or the idol band that's actually in the manga is going to be dropping their first single next month in September. Yes, this fictional K-idol band here is going to have an actual single that they're going to be releasing that we can hear. I believe it's going to be by the same voice actors that are going to be like like the actors in the anime, which is voices in the anime, which is really cool. Comes out the same day as Volume 9 in Japan, not in the US. This is all in Japan. The single is called Eyes on You, and I am so curious, y'all. I sort of feel like if I really love this, this could get me back on reading this manga, because knowing, like, you know, if you love this manga and you love the guys in this group, you're gonna actually be able to hear them sing. You know what I mean? Like, that is just, to me, the coolest thing as a fan, as a reader. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. I can't wait to hear it. Like, that is just gonna be so incredibly cool. If you're in the US and you happen to live near Washington, DC, and you happen to be able to go to Otakon, which happens, I believe, in Washington, DC. I've never been. Let me tell you something. The manga artist of 7 Time Loop, she is going. Her and 2 other manga creators, I don't believe we have their works in English, but I do know that the manga artist of 7 Time Loop, she's going to Otakon. She's going to be doing a live drawing. So if you want to go meet Sensei, if you want to go meet this artist, go to Otakon. I so wish Washington, DC was so much closer than what it is. And I'm not sure when Otakon starts, but if you can go have a good time. Go have a good time and go meet this manga artist, because I love 7 Time Loop. The latest volume was really good. The series has just been so amazing. I do have a review up on this channel if you're very curious about it, because I dropped it the first time because I didn't love it. Then I came back the second time in honor of the anime coming up, and I absolutely loved it. It was really, really good. Now, I know I've also shared about this before, but I wanted to share about it again. So the Tyrant's Etiquette Tutor, which is coming up from a certain publisher that does light novels. Now, I mentioned this in an earlier video, but they decided to actually push back the Kickstarter that's going to be happening to get the box set for this. And well, guess what? The official day is this Wednesday, July 31st. It's coming up. I'm really excited. I think that they narrowed down their tiers that they have. I'm like, please be affordable, because I really want to try this series. A friend of mine has spoken so highly about it, and I've really enjoyed what I have read from this publisher so far. Very much looking forward to this. So if you really enjoy reading light novels, I don't remember what this one's about, but it seems to be a really popular series for them, and you want to get the limited box set, you know, that LE right there, as well as like there's like an acrylic stand, a keychain, washi tape, a bookmark. If you want to get all those goodies, keep an eye out. You can go ahead and go to Kickstarter's website and click on, I think it's like either save now or notify me later, and Kickstarter will send you an official email the day of so that you can back it right away, because I am ready to get on this hype train for this series. It seems amazing, and have loved everything I've been seeing for the merch, because, you know, merch speaks to my heart, unfortunately. Well, unfortunately for my wallet, fortunate for me. So I wanted to share about this again, since it is happening officially, the Kickstarter, this Wednesday. And last but not least, if you've been missing Loving Yamada since it has been hiatus, well, I think it's the team that publishes Loving Yamada, they actually just had a new tweet here recently, and they're like, hey, we took I think it's volume 9, we made it into a free wallpaper just for you guys using the covers. And so if you're interested in downloading that, because yes, I was, then check out the link down below. And if you're curious about anything else I shared in this video, all the links will be down below. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed all of the cool, like, I was about to say educational things, but I guess learning more about the industry, because apparently I really do like that. I just maybe thought that I did it. So I hope that you guys, yeah, enjoyed all this. What is some manga news that you've been looking forward to that's coming out, or you've heard about recently, or anime news? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!